crazy, nothing so special, but it is sometimes. But hey, all my audio people, all my people listening from Facebook, welcome. This is the Youth to my podcast. I am you, Bonnie Danvers, and this is my co-host.
Glenville Dixon Jr.
All right, so let's get right into it. So today's topic. Sometimes in this world, you have to create connections to be somewhat prosperous in this world. There's a lot of phrases in terms of that, like you're only valuable as the connections you have. For me, I think today should be discussing that for young aspiring professionals out there, and just for the students coming out of high school, everything, just to have some sort of know it all of why it's important. Maybe you can get some knowledge in that and just discuss, start a discussion from there. So let's get down to it. So the quote today, read the quote, Glenn.
Me? Okay. So the quote is relationships aren't about being used. It's about being useful in each other's journey.
You think?
What I think? I think it's beautiful, actually. This actually works out very, very, very close to my already existing moral, which is you can't get anyone to provide value to other people. So if relationships
like how this also correlates, how this also correlates to every single type of relationships, but you can continue.
The correlation between this and other relationships, I think this carries across for everything from familial relationships to leadership positions to working with other people to even like religious institutions and so on and so forth. It's about being useful to one another. We all have our goals and aspirations, and actually the best way to get what you want is to give the other person what they want, right? While at the same time get what you want. Doing it by any other method is just inhumane.
What you call equality, baby.
I
let's go down the list of.
That's a whole other conversation. You want to jump into that?
Let's jump into why the relationship aspect of things are important. Why do you feel like building the relationships, like especially in the context since we're in the business space, in the business sense, why do you think it's like important that you have to build connections?
I think it's important to build connections because well, wait, I get this song. Do you hear that on your end, Bunny?
I can't hear it on my end.
Oh, okay, I heard some. It sounds like when you're in a call online and a phone call comes in. Back in the old days. Okay. So for relationships, right, they're incredibly important because 3 points actually. One, support, right? I don't think there's very many people in this world that can say that they made it completely on their own because of how the world works. We're very social animals, and in order to become a millionaire, you probably have to get $1 from a million people. If you understand what I mean. So I'm like, just making those connections, whether they're seller to salesman, whether it's customer and other consumers, you'll always make relationships wherever you go. It's very important because those relationships are, let's say, what's the proper word for it? They're like the concrete blocks to your journey that leads to the end of whatever path you're on.
It's really important. get. Because again, just say, since I have, some friendly relationships in high school, cool, very nice, just some relationships that just benefit everybody. Cool, crossface, just everybody just live nice. What would happen if you didn't have the relationships and let's say you applying for a job and person that you've been good with for all these years in high school, primary school, not to be an actual the what you call it, the HR person handling who comes and all that stuff. Do you think if you tell the person that you build a relationship with for a long time that hey, I'm looking for this position and I believe that you guys are good. Can you put in a good word for me with your boss or whatever, whatever? Think they will do that? They, of course they will do it because they know your character. They know your personality. So it it's so nonchalant that it's almost you know how it is. It's just like um if you want to be a millionaire you have to work. It's kind of like it's almost the same thing, but it's so important, bro. It's too important. Because like, you want to say and start things in high school because I want to go into that for a bit. In high school, in schools now, how do you think we should about building relationships in high school, or should the whole thing in networking and building meaningful stuff with others start being practiced in primary school or high school or whatever? What do you think?
Actually, before I answer that, we do have a slight problem where we're getting an echo issue. So we're not fixing that right now. But because I wasn't able to hear your question in advance, so can you say this again?
Okay. If you can hear me, well, you should be able to hear me now, are you?
No, it's not the problem on your end, it's on my end. I know the problem is I'm fixing it right now.
Cool. But either way, it's do you think it's important to start build having the know it all and how to properly build relationships like networking and all the stuff in high school or primary school or any sort of any of the academic institutions of today? What do you think about that?
It's it's tough. It's tough. Because wait, I actually need to fix this before I can speak because it's gonna echo like a lot. Let me see if I can.
If the people can hear me,
No, they can hear you. They can hear you very clear. It's precisely because I'm my voice is playing back on the computer once over. So when I speak into the microphone, it plays back again and it picks that up. So that's what's causing the double echo. So it's on my end. So Ivani, give me a second, just carry the podcast until I fix this. And say
okay,
it's my
no
question.
problem.
I'm
For me, with me, right, it's not just like necessary. It's very important that you have the actual hands-on experience, the hands-on experience in building relationships. I think for me, I would need the Ministry of Education have a whole program. Possibly, should I put it in? I'm just maybe thinking in primary school. I think that will be the best areas. For now, I'll have to go into more research on how it will be properly executed. I believe it will like more. I very much believe that it will be more suitable to be done in high schools. That tree for all the forms, for every single form, like a universal, um, universal, what you call it, course. Should I call it course? Or like, yeah, a universal program.
Universal program.
Universal program where you have
Hmm.
a universal program, meaning be for all forms, all the school forms and everything. First, all the way to fifth. Everybody get to know how to talk, the public speaking, how you will negotiate, how will you know your value, some things in that nature, so you can have that hands-on experience and even to talking to other students who are also learning, having that fun experience, which will drive all that thing in your mind to say, oh, this situation I could do this situation, and it builds curiosity and all that stuff. So you will literally go out. That it's almost the same practice, you doing business. So me and Glenn should be. I think I should say it. Me and Glenn used to be in this entrepreneurship program
Hmm. Hmm.
by Franz Freitas. He's you say a man of all trades. He's very a man of all trades. But the things he let us do is on the side of the road, bags of rice, of cornmeal, I think. What was it, cornmeal? Flour or any of the powder products? I think powder. He was. Yeah, I think it was either flour or powder or cornmeal, something like that. But it was with toilet paper, flour or so, or what you call it? There was the flour, the toilet paper. I th- oh, I can't remember. Sorry about that. But either way, it actually is the same process. You go out, go inside the road, selling different products to different people, stopping people, trying to conversate to them and say, "Hey, I'm selling this for 250. You're buying stuff at the store for $3." Have that negotiation power and being self-taught in that area, because me, let's say everybody experiences things differently, but it ends up to be the same holistically. Let's say you have dealt in getting a customer. Two people get customers, but one had a long process in negotiating and say, hey, I want, yeah, buy from me and all this stuff. But other person, may haven't gone through that long experience, but appreciate the process. So, and it's the same thing with this whole thing in creating connections, right? To a message. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. In Antigua, you just have this Wi-Fi issues nowadays, but how you switch your microphone. Oh man, you see, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the co-host will be on his way, but yeah, but the co-host is coming back soon. But as I was saying, yeah, you just come back when you can, Glenn. But either way, um, as I was saying, kind of back into this whole discussion. But in this whole thing in creating connections, it's the same principle, same process in going through anything in business, knowing how to do business, how to talk to people, networking, things in that nature. So it's just basically very important build that you actually build it from the ground up. So let's kind of switch gears a bit. Wondering if my co-host will be even here at that time. I'll just kind of start the conversation. Okay. Best types of personalities.
And I am back. I've returned. Yes. Okay. Let me just. Whew, okay, I've returned. I'm back. I haven't died yet. Okay. Whew, I was in the podcast void for a little while there. Just be like a patient. Okay, how do I sound now, guys? How do I sound now?
You should, yeah, you think you sound good now.
No, I am still here. I'm just checking.
That was one. So,
Okay, they said the echo is fixed.
go through the first.
Yep.
Nice. So, we want to give your perspective on what you feel in, starting the relationship process in schools. What do you think about that?
Okay, this is my thing, right? The process should start it in schools, but I think the process very largely determines on how it's being implemented. You check? I see it a lot of the time. People just want to put in things for the sake of putting in things, but if you don't put it in effectively or properly, you'll create the opposite effect. So it's how it's implemented. I was here, I heard the story Ibani was given when we had to sell toilet paper and soap and stuff on the side of the road in Antigua, and not even in a super popular area, and then we had to sell the stuff and see who could sell the best to these random cars that were just passing around the place at high speed. You check? And I think I came in second. Yeah. I came in second or third or something. I can't remember. I know 2 kids beat me though. I will always remember that. Forever remember them 2 little kids get all the money. I can't. Right? But something like that, it was initiated and worked out properly. It's not really sad now. It's perfectly understandable. Young and cute can get all the sales. That's all me say. Check. And that was one of the very starts of my marketing career, quote unquote, so to say, right? When I literally had to sell little to no experience and figure out, okay, how to sell these things to people in a way that they will like it, pretty much. And I had to learn those skills practically on the fly as well. But if it wasn't in a proper environment or very super inclusive, then I likely would not ever want to do something like that again. It really depends on the environment, So a part of the question is for regular schools implementing those type of activities, I shy away from it ultimately because I'm not particularly sure about how effective it's actually going to be in the long run. Can you guys hear me? Says RTC disconnected. The stream is going. I just can't connect with Ibani. Okay. Slight technical issue. Let me see what's going on.
It just gets the best of us.
Okay, bam. I just had to disconnect and reconnect.
You're back.
Yeah, I just had to disconnect and reconnect. Thankfully, the internet didn't go off or go out to anything else because I realized we were still live. So I'm like, okay, it's another software.
I actually agree with what you're saying in terms of how it's presented.
Yeah.
If something's just They're just to put there. Nobody's gonna have any motivation to go with it. If they do, it's very few, and then they would just take the nip bits of things and then just somewhere else will learn it.
Yeah, or they might not even learn it at all. You check, a lot of this has to come with like inspiration. Not many people are necessarily interested in the things that are being taught in school, you check, or like taught overall, you check. But it's up to school to put people in a position where they get to learn a variety of general subjects that help them to be efficient in life. And while I do think something like communication and business and so on and so forth, those are necessary skills to have, especially connection making, that isn't really explained to us. We're kind of thrown into high school and or primary school, and we just wing it pretty much. And we just come together and do our own things. But there are a few kids, and we are realizing it more and more now, especially now, that you do need to do things a little bit differently depending on the type of kid that you're dealing with. And most schools don't really have that type of attention to detail on one-on-ones. So then when you scale that back towards something like, just imagine, right? Yabani, personally. Imagine trying to do the thing where you have to like stay on the side of the road and sell like soap and toilet paper and all that kind of stuff there to regular people passing by with regular teachers or like the regular school system. Like, try to imagine that. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to go to that. I wouldn't want to go. I would not want to go. Right?
The only reason I would go is if I go there instead of going class, I would do it.
The only reason, that's the only benefit. Oh, I do have to go to class? No math? I ain't gotta do no PE? God damn. Check, I need to jump. And then even that shows, like, if you're going for the wrong reasons, you're probably gonna learn the wrong lessons also. And then if you have a bad experience, you're gonna default to like, oh no, I'm never gonna do this again, right? And that's usually what happens more often than not. So I'm like,
I would wonder, those type of people though. What's those type of people? What do you think them type of people are? Would they be good in terms of building relationships with?
Depend. Like, give an example of those. Like, give an outline of that type of person.
For instance, you have that person that you know maybe be academical in school, have something, but you don't want to. You just never know with them. The man to them that just come in the class and just form a fool. Would you want to create a connection with that person? More long lasting? Let's say for a business relationship, would you want to connect with that person?
Yeah, all the people that I used to go to high school with watching this video right now, and they already know the answer. They're like, nah, no.
Like,
No.
you just have that one person that everybody goes to say,
No. And it's not even like a super disrespectful thing. It's just like, realistically, for different types of things you want to do in your life, you need a certain type of person. Those people usually don't fit in well, especially for like business, like networking purposes. They can, especially when you say lackadaisical, I'm just like, no, not really.
well, what do you think the personality traits would be for a person that wants to know? That you would want to connect with in terms of business? What type of person you would want to have for your personality traits?
Oh, my ideal person for connections? Well, I don't know. I guess 4 or 5 traits. They'd have to have ambition. When I say ambition, you need to have some steadfast goal that they are going to do and are willing to do. The second is they must be willing to achieve it. which means, they probably plan everything in advance. They take their time. They're willing to make mistakes, so on and so forth. They have to be understanding and willing to learn and to develop. So, like, we can have a disagreement or a discussion and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, you check, all of this is to further whatever it is we came together to do, whatever it is we, whatever we set out to do in whatever networking or connections that is. The third or fourth, I don't know where I'm at right now, but that is to basically be open-minded, pretty much. My thing is based off of the idea that open-mindedness carries you around the world, because the entire world is truly an open place. You would miss out on a lot if you kept yourself closed off all the time. So someone that's open-minded is much more likely to take hold of different opportunities that are presented, especially as they make more networking connections in the future. So that helps me and helps them. And the fifth one is being able to take calculated risks. Right? There's risks everywhere, realistically. When I say risks, I mean to come out of your comfort zone with a plan. That's what I think when I say calculated risk. Right? A risk is just anything out of your comfort zone. A lot of people like to stay in their comfort zone and they just do whatever it's in that boundary, but then you never really improve or advance, do you? You just become more proficient in what you're already doing. If I'm making a connection with someone, that can be useful, but I'm like young now, right? So I'm not looking for anyone that's going to stay in the same place and just steadily improve in a circle. I'm looking for someone that's willing to grow. You check? Especially around my age group as well. So 5 is definitely needed. I definitely need someone that's willing to take risks.
I say that's actually. I would actually look for the same thing, and if they're young, like myself, the same, like drive and everything, immediately want to be your friend, come over your house, play PlayStation 5. I want to do everything because you have the right mindset and you come with the right intentions.
Yummy food.
Also goes, of course, food. Actually goes into like. But honestly, there's a question that I pose for the script being, can you be used in these situations? But I'm gonna leave that for later down. You know why. Let's go into this one thing. The pros in building business relationships. What do you think?
The pros in building business relationships specifically? Well, the pros would obviously be you get a bigger network and a larger pool of possibilities to which to make more money and to make different partnerships and connections with make connections with different people. Yeah, so it would be that.
But honestly,
well, that's one of the reasons, right? The second reason would be, well, realistically, you want someone you can relate to. You check. It's all about who you can relate to, because if you know or have another business connection, then they kind of understand the same problems that you are going through yourself, right? And that can help a lot down the road, right? Especially as we all go through our different experiences, we can teach each other different things and learn from them. Those two reasons, I think, are more than enough to create other like-minded relationships. But business relationships specifically benefit from that greatly.
what do you believe would be the cons? Like the bad, doing good, which goes into almost you can
Manipulation. Yeah.
Is any manipulation?
The cons is you can be used, realistically. In a business person, by definition, is someone that engages in different companies, businesses, or activities for the sake of making money and providing value to other people. But not everyone wants to provide value to other people. I just add on that bitter ending because that's what I want to do. Most people just want to make money. Money. That's kind of all businesses do. Provide value in exchange for money. Right? So when you're having connections with these different business people, it is very possible that you might accidentally say something you shouldn't, and then you just get it a little stolen from you. Or they could abuse whatever positive traits that you have, right? Maybe you're a little too open, maybe a little too trusting into people, maybe you're easy to manipulate then, like easy to manipulate. So like someone that's easily convinced or easily motivated, then there are people whose goals and aspirations differ greatly from yours, which you might want to help people, and this other person just wants money. So then you have to think about this logically, right? We like to label people as type of people, but I think it's better to understand them. If someone just wants money, then what's the easiest and quickest way to make money? Right? One of those ways is to steal the ideas of someone else and do it better. Right? That's one situation that a lot of people hate, but that's logically what someone that only cares about money would do. You check? They would just do that. They don't necessarily have any other moral that doesn't help them make more money, if you understand what I mean. So that's definitely a potential. You check? But that could happen with anyone, really.
Almost going to go to a break, but I would just say this, right? Anything, which is the reason why I will repeatedly say the word intention. I have this one quote that I made up like maybe a couple of years ago, which says this: everybody has assumptions of other people's intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has assumptions of people's intentions to do other things. So let's say, for instance, I came into a circle, to get to know you, you have a lot of, other connections, or you have opportunities that I can grasp on. You may be thinking that, okay, maybe he wants to be with me for that. They may intend to use you because maybe you forth as, willing to, talk and all this stuff, and maybe possibly be pushed around in
Mm-hmm.
some
Mm-hmm.
sense. I intend to over overstep their boundaries. For
Ah.
me, if you use logic, if you use logic now, for let's say, it's kind of like the Trojan horse type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that they're doing this, and it will click and say, "Alright, then you're going to be doing this." Okay, and easy just pulling pulling certain things from you. Like, it's so interesting how just simple logic you can just sniff out nonsense out of other people and just sniff out what the intentions with you.
And now that I think
What is
about
the
it, right?
real thing with you? Maybe
Wait, give me
yeah,
like a little second to come in. Like,
mind now.
this can be its own topic. Actually, we need to work on that. Realistically,
Yes.
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
put that
we
out there. Like,
can.
how to tell the intentions of other people based on their words and actions. You check, because that's what I think is what you're trying to go into and explain, right?
Need to go to the break because that's all we trying to open another kind of web. So let's take
I'm
let's
saying.
come back. Right. But hey, let's just jump back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, During the break, we just had a little discussion about the intentions topic that we potentially will be pulling out
Mm-hmm.
in upcoming future. But these last two things that we want to touch on. Mm, how would you know when you're giving to someone and they're actually using what you're using? So you're not giving nothing in return. And how would you perceive, or how you would see if they are thing onto you, a mentor to a mentoree, or a like being beneficial to you. So let's get into that. Oh man, how would you want to approach this? Do you
Ugh.
think the it's just so vast, but let's kind of concise it in a little 15-minute pack because we're kind of running out of time.
Mhm.
How would you know? How would you know that someone like you're actually giving something of value to someone? Would you know that?
Oh, how would I
You
know?
see, how would you
Oh my
how would
goodness.
you interpret them and they're getting value from you?
I mean, it it really depends on the. Okay. Let me take my time. It depends on what they say, what they do, and the outcome. Like if you come to me, say, "Hello, Glenville. I'd like to start a business about selling hot dogs. I want to make selling hot dogs like a successful, sustainable business." You check, and I give you some advice, and I tell you what to do, and so on and so forth, and da 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 da, and I try and lead you in the right direction. My my ability to see how my value is paid off is dependent on, well, based on what you wanted. Did your hot dog shop succeed? Did you actually get it off the ground? Is it stable? And then, like, are you appreciative? Did you like come back and say, "Oh my goodness, Glenville, I can't believe it. I got so much customers. This is working out so great. This is amazing. Thank you so much." You check? Or if the just the overall benefits that they get from it is easily visible. You check, there's ways to tell if your advice has hit someone now, because usually they change direction or you can see a positive impact. And other times you could give someone advice, they heed it, and then a negative circumstance happens as well. So that can also occur, right? But
Again, it all goes down to the interpretations,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
interpret of what they perceive your intentions are. Because if you're coming in a professional sense, you give them advice that maybe they haven't heard before,
yeah.
maybe they perceived it as something negative, as, oh, you think you're better than me, step in, and
Boss,
some egotistical behavior steps in
boss, I was
and
just
just
having a
corrupts things.
conversation. I was just having a conversation. Oh no. I had the stream up on my phone. I just had a conversation about this literally like a half hour before we started the actual podcast. It's so funny. That's hilarious, right? Because let me give you a little insight into my personal life, right? I
Uh,
I'm not sure if it's how I like approach different things, but I guess because I do have knowledge in certain aspects of things, and when I give advice about particular things specifically, I end up being right about them. I am phrased as many different words, some words that Tibani mentioned, you check, and as he says, it's all based on interpretation. I actually never expected these topics to coincide together, but it's actually a perfect example, right? Um, and then I talked to a friend of mine. I talked to a friend of mine afterwards, and I asked them, "What do you think about the situation?" And because of her perspective and understanding, she pretty much had the opposite conclusion. You check? Like, the topic is about arrogance, right? Arrogance as a whole, is arrogance inherently bad, or does it depend on the context? Because if you're sure about what you're saying and what you're saying is right, and you think it's really important, that's arrogance, right? That's definitely arrogance. But I think there's a difference between if you think your shit is right and it's actually right and you know it, versus if you think your shit is right and you know it's not right, but you refuse to listen,
stuck
and you
on your stuff,
yeah, you're just under the
on your
impression
point
that
of
it
view.
is right regardless of the actual fact, right? So I'm like, it questions like these really depend on the interpretation of how you deal with stuff. So it's a perfect example, actually. It's a perfect example.
Not to mention, there's just so much situations where give and that's so funny nowadays. And you will have the clearest intentions just to actually help the person, but maybe get outside influence or they get another perspective. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they agree with that more because somehow it's some more realistic
Mm-hmm.
in their head. Like, would you? It's the example. I know guys gonna kind of hate me for this. I'm bringing her back up. There's a
Let me just mute
certain
myself.
individual. There's a certain individual um, who wanted to do another podcast show, and the individual, well, they asked us for our opinions on how it should be started up and how to get equipment and everything. Gave the advice. She said, huh, "This doesn't really sound right." And then she goes to another person. Well, it's a day. Don't wanna the the specifics of the situation of the person, but they go to the other person, and just because they perceive the person to be an expert, they went with their opinion, their point of view, which ends up to be drastic halt in what she wanted to do, because let's say for instance you want to have a studio thing, build out your whole stuff for your streaming and stuff. Have this person say
Mm-hmm.
they want a whole mixing board, cameras, high definition like not needed. But then you have the other side. You have a lot of free stuff online. Free a free mixer for your mic, cheap mics, uh, cameras, equipment that doesn't cost over 200 US.
And high
When
quality.
that still gives quality, just like the whole $1,000 camera that you all want for buy. That see them big man in church and stuff, huh? ABS have or any TV station have. You don't need that. Just line and just go for the things that have quality, cheap price. And that's all it would be. Because they perceive the person to have technical knowledge because they've been in the field for a long time. They perceive that they say, oh, might be wrong. So let me agree with this person, but in turn, halt the product, halt the entire operation because it's so expensive. How strange people's just drastically just switch. It's such a weird thing. Such a weird thing.
I mean,
Never
it,
understand it.
it's it's very multi-layered. Check. It really depends. I think everyone needs to take accountability from one point to another. And on one hand, right, on one hand, she could have done a little bit more research on before she went to her conclusion. But on the other hand, as well, she never really. I think, based off of the situation, right, or like the example given, right, I'm assuming that there wasn't really that much, you know, research being put in. Because if the person actually put in research, they'd be able to find better alternatives. I'm aware of the alternatives. Yeah, Jack, in this situation, I tell the person, well, hey, these are the alternatives. If she decides that she's going to go to someone else she sees as more, you know, expert level, or however that goes, and it just turns out the expert's advice is don't bother trying because you don't have the money, and the other person's advice is you can definitely do it, you just need to be smart about it. At that point, you need to step back and do some thinking of your own and decide, well, hey, listen, which one helps me more, which one helps me get to my end goal faster, You check? And where there's doubt, ask for explanations. Why do I need all this expensive equipment? Why is this cheap equipment the same as expensive? What are the differences? What are the benefits and disadvantages? You check? And I'm guessing none of that was asked or none of that was talked about. So it just leads me to think that there's some people who go out there and do things in either the business world or overall, and they don't really have a set plan of how to do it. They just go out there and do their thing, and then sometimes you hit a roadblock, and you hit a roadblock in such a way that it's hard to recover from what you already know, and then you're just stuck there for maybe 6 months. It happens.
To be honest, it's almost to be. It, it's just like the persons that have business degrees but don't know how to execute any sort of business stuff, anything, because they just don't have the experience for it. You come into the person with some experience, maybe it's kind of like this. You go to a person that have a degree in business, get their perspective in how to start a business. If you have a person that is building a business, you rather go to the person that has the certifications for it. It's kind of backwards, but it's all about how people perceive things. Sometimes they perceive wrong, and then they go through the whole circle and just dumbfounded of the results. Hey, that's how it is sometimes.
I've actually been thinking about it in particular. It's really easy for me to say there's some perspectives that are inherently correct, and there's some perspectives that are inherently incorrect to pay attention to or listen to when it comes to the scope of life, because some beliefs just makes things easier, to be honest with you. But I think it's much more multi-layered, because realistically, unless you're like insane or something, most people believe the things they do for a purpose, right? So I think even if people have the quote-unquote wrong perspective, if we can get an understanding of why they think so, that can help to clear any misunderstandings. But that's me. I have the time and patience to go in and try and figure out the mind of this person and try and lead them and so on and so forth. That won't always work for everyone, and that won't always be the best scenario and or situation for everyone to be in. Because let's face it, right? A lot of us don't have the patience for all that. We just wanna find the best way to move forward and do what we're trying to do.
I think we have spent a bunch of time on this topic. We had like a couple more things we wanted to cover, but unfortunately we had to end. But again, guys, hope that you had something of value from this episode. And again, this episode is actually sponsored by Technology Solace Family. I know you guys kind of heard it during the break. Just gonna bring that back. We'll plan that in the future to be, you know, mentioned here and there. So again, my name is Yabani Danvers, and this is my co-host
Glenville Dixon.
We out ya. Peace.
See ya.